Hey friends, welcome to Whiskey and Wit. I'm Whitney. In today's video, we are doing it again because you loved it so much. It is the Dollar Tree Box Challenge, so stay tuned. So my box came from Tracy over at Country Charm by Tracy, so you'll see what she sent me in just a little bit, and then I packed up a box and sent it over to Yami at the Latina next door. In addition to the three of us, also in this collab is Courtney over at Creative on the Cheap, who brought us all together, Kristen at Kristen K, Jennifer over at Little Bit of Calm and Crazy, Caitlin from Crafts by Caitlin, and Heidi at Heidi Sonville DIY. Everybody packed up 7 to 10 Dollar Tree items. That included 2 challenge items. Everybody wrapped them up, shipped them off, and then we all had to create based on what was in the box. We could use items that were in our craft stash to round out the project, but we wanted to use as many of the items in the box as we could. If you're new to Whiskey and Wit and came over from one of those other channels, welcome. I hope you will hit the subscribe button and stick around to continue to craft here with me. Once you get done here, all of the other videos will be linked in the playlist. So let's see what Tracy sent me and let's get crafting. All right, so she sent this card and it says, can't wait to see what you do with these items. I know they will be amazing. P.S. I couldn't decide on 10 items, so I sent them all. All right, so first thing is an arrow. I love these crafter square wood pieces. Some wired jute cord. Ooh, I saw this the other day and I did not grab it and I wished that I did. Some hydrangeas from the fall floral collection. I say collection like Dollar Tree is like super high end. Luau, Tiki Bar, Paradise. Ooh, also some wood blocks. It's super funny because I sent the exact same thing to Yami, so you'll have to check out her video to see what she does with them. Oh, super cute DIY banner. I'm thinking something for fall with this. Oh my goodness, there is stuff in here. Oh, little jar. Oh, spaced out. My goodness. This thing is like the Mary Poppins bag. It just keeps going. Got some burlap ribbon. Also got a pencil cup holder, a watermelon silicone brush cleaner, a messenger bag with burlap. I did not see these when I did my recent Crafter Square haul, but this is awesome. Challenge item 1, here we go. This is hilarious. A dollhouse little table. 2, oh wait, this is a separate challenge, please hold. Tracy really couldn't decide, so she sent all the stuff. Ooh, you guys saw me haul this. I'll have to figure out what to do with this. I definitely have something in mind. Got some nautical rope and a garden dish and a little organizer basket. Well, I guess I can't say I will be at a loss for supplies. Thank you, Tracy, for all the stuff, and now it's time to get crafting. So here is everything laid out, and as her note said, she sent more than 10, but I'm going to try my best to use everything. So first up is this super simple to make but really impactful fall garland. I have this big focal point mantle in my front room, and so I needed something for fall to drape across the front. So I decided to use the DIY banner that came in the box and paint it a buffalo check print. So I started by taking a just foam brush and lightly coated each piece with some white chalk paint. Then it was time to paint the buffalo check. So for this process, you paint your vertical stripes first. So I just used a piece of tape as a spacer and went through and painted some dark gray vertical stripes, let that dry, peeled the tape off, and repeated the same step horizontally. Once that dried, I peeled up that tape just a little bit to see where the original vertical stripes were, stuck the tape from the step 1 back where it was to create these squares, and then I finished it off with black squares to complete the buffalo check. So your goal is to get those black squares right over the top of where the gray lines intersect. Then I repeated that same step. I reused a lot of my painter's tape not to be wasteful and did all 6 pieces. Then I made sure everything was dry, grabbed some of this Crafter Square jute twine, and assembled my garland right on my mantle. I find it's a lot more helpful to put your garland up, space it out, and do all these things while it's in the place that it's going to display. I just took these Dollar Tree
burlap leaves. They have them every year. I pushed them so they hang over the jute cord. And this was so quick and easy. I love that I could take the leaves off and use this buffalo check year round with different prints or just have a buffalo check banner. So this was a win. As you can tell, I was so inspired to start my fall DIYs, so that is the overall theme here. I wanted to figure out a fun way to use these wood craft cubes, and I saw a potential within the Dollar House Challenge item. So the first thing I did was grab my little wood pieces and make them into beads. So you're going to want to look and find the more dull side. So that's where you're going to want to drill your hole, because that's what's not going to be appearing outward on your bead strand. So I went through with a drill bit. I'll leave all the information on sizing down below, and I created all of the beads. Then I also went through and with some oomph, but also very carefully removed the actual table part and left the tabletop out. Then I used this picture from Pinterest as a guide and some inspo, and I went through and sorted out all of my beads so I knew what color each had to be. Then I tried a new process. Instead of hand painting each bead, I wanted to try to do more of a dye approach. So I just took some water and some acrylic paint, slished it around in a solo cup, and then I added my beads, and then I fished them out with a paper clip. And this worked out really well. I ended up repeating this process twice for all the colors, and they look a little bit more like they were RIT dyed versus painted, which I really like. Then I did go through and hand paint the buffalo check on there, and this process is really easy. It's a lot easier than the buffalo check with the tape. So I went through and did 3 horizontal lines all the way around the outside. Then I did 2 vertical lines in that same dark gray that I've been using. And then once that dried, I went in with a fine tip little paintbrush and made everywhere where the gray lines intersected a black square. Then I sanded off my tabletop and painted that black so it would match the Halloween theme. You could definitely probably stain that too because of the chipboard nature of it. Then I grabbed some jute twine. I made myself a handy dandy makeshift needle so it was easier to thread the strand. And then I did go through, and some of the holes I had to make just a tad larger to make it easier for the jute cord to go through the center. Once I had everything in the pattern that I wanted, then I finished off each end. One end was a jute cord tassel, which I'm making here. And then I attached it to the end of the strand. Then I made sure the hole was big enough in my tabletop. I tied that on the opposite end. And then I finished it off with a Hocus Pocus decal in the font Amatic. And here's how they turned out. I really like the hand-painted feel of the buffalo check ones. And I was really excited to see a take on a true Dollar Tree beaded garland. Up next is this cute little pedestal holder, and I stuck with the general gray and buffalo check for this one too. So this project crossed off the pencil cup and the garden dish. So I started by adding a ton of hot glue to the top of the pencil cup to glue the garden dish on there, and then I went outside with this Rust-Oleum paint and painted 2 coats onto the pedestal. Then I took some burlap from the box. I combined it with some buffalo check wired ribbon that I got last year from Hobby Lobby to make a double-decker ribbon here. Then I cut it down, folded it in half, and tied it into a nice loopy bow to go on the front. And then for fall specifically, I finished off the look by just adding some of this pumpkin scatter that I recently got at Hobby Lobby. I can see myself using this for multiple seasons, which is why I kept it neutral with the buffalo check. And all in all, that really helps because then you just change out a couple things. It helps with storage. It helps with giving you some continuity within your decor. So that's why I go for a lot of versatile items. Up next is this super rustic pumpkin. I made this by grabbing the 2 packs of wired jute cord out of the box. I cut a about 6-inch section off of the end of each of them, and then I wrapped each piece around something cylindrical. Here I happen to use my Waverly chalk paint container. Then I took that piece I cut off and just used it kind of like a bread twist tie around the center, and then fanned it out to give you half of your pumpkin. Repeat the same step for the other side. And then I used the cut ends because you have a couple little wings hanging out, and I just bonded the 2 sides together by twisting the pieces. It stayed together really well because it was wired. Then I took a little piece of a branch from my yard, glued that on for the stem, and then I cut some little leaves out of the burlap ribbon to glue to the top. Super quick and easy. I could see these being bigger or smaller or making 3 to go together. There's a lot of options here, and I really love how it goes with my neutral fall decor vignettes. And up next is a different take on a pumpkin. This one checked off the spaced out sign as well as the messenger bag. After I pulled the front off of the spaced out sign, I cut the burlap off of the back of the bag, and I just used that because it was plain. Then I traced my sign onto the burlap so I knew where to cut, and I cut out my shape. Then I just used some hot glue, hooked the burlap to the front of the sign. I used my handy dandy little finger protector so I didn't burn myself because burlap is so porous. And then I put some white Waverly chalk paint over the top. And the process here is exactly the same to the leaf garland that I shared at the beginning of the video. So you go through, do your gray vertical stripes, let it dry, peel it off, go through, do your gray horizontal stripes, let that dry, and then when that is complete, replace your tape and paint your black squares. Then to finish off this look, I grabbed another piece of a branch from the yard, hot glued that to the top for a stem. Then I checked off the nautical rope. I cut a probably 4-inch section. I unraveled the 3 pieces in the nautical rope because it has that kind of spiral look to it already. And I used those to look like the vines from the pumpkins. And then I cut similar little leaves and added that to the pumpkin. I love how neutral this is, and it's also kind of a different take on a pumpkin shape, which I really like. I've seen so many people haul these little signs, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do with them when I got it in my box. I wanted to spray paint it black, this is just from Walmart, and have it be a little bit more of a chalk look. Then I just cut out in the same font as the Hocus Pocus beads, some words to go on either side. For this particular Halloween one, I did boo and spooky. And I see these going super well in different vignettes or on tiered trays throughout the season. And then I also just took one that I happen to have already at home to show you the options for just fall. You could absolutely leave them as is and just add a decal. This next one helped me cross off a ton of items from the box. The first being this little summer sign. So I pulled everything apart because I knew I didn't want it to hang like that. I took out the staples, and then I asked Alex to cut off the pointy ends so that they were just long rectangles. I assembled the sign with some wood popsicle sticks and hot glue, and I'm putting those on the actual front of the sign because it is going to end up being the back of the sign moving forward. Then I gave it 2 coats of white Waverly chalk paint to give it kind of a shiplap look, and then the back was complete. Then I grabbed the little organizer tray, sprayed it black, and took the arrow and stained that with my Minwax Dark Walnut. And then I cut out a decal for the arrow on my Cricut. This cut file will be down below. I somehow screwed up the sizing here, so I ended up having to Frankenstein it together. I do this all the time, and it really turns out fine, but the full SVG file is linked for you down below in case you want to make this. Now I like that sign just as is, but I wanted to add it to the sign because it is a challenge and we're trying to use as many things as we can and give you guys ideas. So I glued that on with hot glue, and then I also used a lot of hot glue to glue on my little basket so that I could put some pumpkin patch stuff in there. So option 1, I used the hydrangeas from the box and created a very traditional fall, like oranges and reds look for the sign. Now, my particular decor is a little bit more muted, so you could honestly customize this, which is why I didn't glue anything down, because you can change it out. So here is a little bit more of what I would do in my decor. I would use some lamb's ear and then just some white pumpkins. Also, like I mentioned, this pumpkin patch SVG, you can put it on a ton of different things. It doesn't just fit this arrow, but this would also be really cute on a wreath. And finally, hope you're still with me, this is the last project here, this really cute kind of fall quote sign. So this one checked off the Crafter Square wood chalkboard sign. And I was thinking about staining it, but I actually wanted a little bit of an orange tone to it. So I took this nutmeg brown paint and painted the entire outside of the frame. Now don't worry about painter's tape, because if you use acrylic paint and just a little wet paper towel, it will come off pretty quickly. And then I designed this per usual. It's linked down below, this little decal to apply to the sign. I really love this saying, especially because of this year. So many things are changing, and it's a great reminder that, you know, you can find beauty within the change. So overall, I love that I went with the fall direction with these projects. They all really kind of work together, which is going to be awesome for my decor. Real quick reminder, here is everything that was sent to me in the box from Tracy, and I'm super proud that I was able to use mostly everything. There were 2 items that I didn't use, but I did check off every item that was sent to me as a challenge item. Let me know down below which project is your favorite and which ones you plan to recreate.
Thank you so much for watching. I had so much fun with this again. It was such a good kind of mind exercise to really get my creative juices flowing again. A huge thank you to all of the girls who collabed on this video. These are always super fun. Let us know down below if you want us to keep doing them, because really it's super fun for me and I'll keep doing them. Be sure to check out the playlist down below so you can check out everybody's creations. I am so excited to head over to all of their channels and check them out. And also hit subscribe so you don't miss a future Whiskey and Whit video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!
They said that just one look and I'd get caught